Up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and I'm gonna play you about 3 minutes of this clip. This is from Darren Moore Jr. Excellent, excellent channel. I would highly recommend you subscribe. And this is what I've been trying to talk about. A lot of folks get caught up on the decentralized nature of the blockchain and how they can get away from the system and how they'll be, have sole custody of their information and their money, which in part is true. But I've always said the gatekeepers of the economy are still in control, and they could either regulate or outregulate something. Even if you have a decentralized finance system, and you're going to through KYC and AML, everyone will be identified, and everything will be tied back to their global ID, which is what he's talking about. Whether they use global ID's system or they use something else, it's going to get traced back to them. So I personally believe that we're not headed towards a utopia of where you get all this decentralization and no one controls you, while you will have access to everything that you own, whether it be money, health information, etc. You're gonna still be tracked and monitored. So take a listen to these 3 minutes.
World. So, what Global ID is, it's just a way, instead of just giving out a private key, you give out a private key that is part and matched with an identity. Now, the identity can be very lightweight. It might just be round tripping a mobile phone number, but it is saying that in the smart contract, to complete the smart contract, it's not just enough you get a private key and you're off, and and anybody with that private key in the future can, like, if it's something that gives a commission when you resell something, like, as long as you have the private key, you get the money. Well, you can do that, but I can sure as hell tell you that's not going to be compliant. Well, that's technically authentication and money will be paid out. You can be sure that guys with guns and badges are going to come knocking on the door. They won't come knocking on the door for $5 or $10. When this gets to scale, when Colonial gets shut down, those anonymous Bitcoin addresses, they're not so much anonymous. When people really want to.
And you can track everything through the blockchain on who's spending what and who's sending out what kind of money. And he's referring to the Colonial pipeline that got shut down, which I think serviced 45% of all the natural gas and oil in the East Coast. And so that's what he's referring to with those hackers. And if they were to do something like that in the future, you could trace it right down to the root through this new system. Although I did read an article that said that FBI was able to track down the money. So, I mean, go figure. Keep listening.
You down and you've been involved in Silk Road or ransomware, the Americans, the Russians, the Chinese, all these other countries, they're not stupid. They can, like, look through a tumbler, they can use Chainalysis, they can use AnChain. If somebody steals a big enough amount of money from me, I'm going to be involved in tracking it down, right? And you can be sure the authorities will be as too. So we're trying to get ahead of that. And so developers who want to, like, be on the green side of compliance, I strongly suggest, rather than trying to solve this problem from scratch, look at a neutral solution like Global ID, because we're not committed to any set of identity providers. Just pick whatever identity providers you want, tell people to come with that credential, and that's your defense, that's your explanation, that's your playbook to show to officials and say, why did you build this system with no controls? And so we love DeFi. We love that it's bottom up. We love that everybody gets a seat at the table, but we're not doing this as an end run around compliance. Right now, all these DeFi wallets, Ethereum, generally don't have identity built in. And so you have everything that's happening on DeFi is basically without identity. And then everything with custodial wallets is generally with identity. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why shouldn't the credentials for non-custodial wallets and smart contracts be as good or better than what we have in the custodial legacy world today. We can build a better diamond registry. Let's do it.
And before I play this last, 30 seconds, I just want to say I did a video on global ID, and I read through what they talk about, and what their global ID infrastructure is all about. So if you want to check that out, you could go ahead and look at it through my channel and find it there, and it'll give you an insight onto what they're up to. Now, listen to these next 30 seconds because it will put things into perspective.
DeFi and crypto has a future, but it will comply with KYC and AML laws. Your license or passport, your diploma, health records, legal records, your UBI wallet address will be linked to your digital identity. This will provide a wealth of information that artificial intelligence can analyze and build profiles. That is why I believe Facebook had their attack and is in front of Congress now. Who rules the data needs to be addressed, and I believe that's reserved for the powers that be. I believe we're going to have a perfect storm of events. Crypto has a blow off top, a massive cyber attack, financial crisis, emergency regulations for AI, crypto, and digital identity, the Fed coin. After the chaos, the Internet of Value emerges from the ashes of the old system. We live invested in a...
And that's a key point. And that's why I say if you're investing in crypto at this point in time, if once that blow off top happens, you have to have a financial plan. You got to be prepared. Take your profits, and those profits, put it into something tangible. I don't care what that is. Put it into something tangible. Precious. If you're into precious metals, get some precious metals. If you can buy a little piece of land, get a little piece of land, but something that you can have. I do believe the World Economic Forum does talk about a cyber pandemic. And I did a video on cyber polygon. Folks, I have all this stuff here because I'm trying to inform people on this stuff. But when it happens, it's going to accelerate everything. And so just be prepared for that. And I'm trying to put out this information for you guys to put it all together. But it's coming. And so I always advocate for profits and a financial plan. So I hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe to this channel and to Darren Moore's channel because he has awesome stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section below. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.